Imagine standing on Earth, looking up at the moon, knowing that for more than 50 years, no human being had traveled anywhere close to it. The last time astronauts left Earth's orbit was December 1972. 54 years of waiting. Then came April 1st, 2026, and NASA changed everything. Today, I'm going to take you through the complete story of NASA's Artemis II mission, the most important space mission in over half a century. This is the story of four brave astronauts, a rocket that shook the Earth, and the moment humanity reached for the stars again. After the Apollo program ended in 1972, NASA shifted focus, space stations, the Space Shuttle, Mars rovers. But the moon? The moon was left behind. Then in 2017, NASA launched the Artemis program, named after Apollo's twin sister in Greek mythology. The goal wasn't just to revisit the moon, it was to build a permanent lunar base and eventually send humans to Mars. In 2022, Artemis I launched without a crew, a pure test flight. It went round the moon and came back. It worked. Now it was time for the real thing. NASA engineers spent years building two incredible machines. First, the SLS, the Space Launch System, the most powerful rocket ever built, standing 322 feet tall and producing 8.8 million pounds of thrust. Second, the Orion spacecraft, named Integrity for this mission, designed to carry humans safely through deep space. Everything was ready. Every great mission needs great people. Artemis II had four of them. Commander Reid Wiseman, a U.S. Navy captain and NASA veteran, cool under pressure, experienced in space, and chosen to lead humanity's return to the lunar neighborhood. Pilot Victor Glover, and this is a name you should remember. Victor became the first black astronaut to fly on a mission this close to the moon. His presence wasn't just a personal achievement, it was a statement that space belongs to all of humanity. His calm, professional performance throughout the mission was extraordinary. Mission specialist Christina Koch, the first woman to travel to deep space, when she looked out of Orion's window at the moon from just 4,000 miles away, she became part of history. She was living proof that the next generation of lunar explorers will look very different from the first. And then there's mission specialist Jeremy Hansen, Canada's hero, an astronaut with the Canadian Space Agency. Jeremy became the first Canadian to travel beyond Earth's orbit. All of Canada celebrated. All of Canada held its breath. And all of Canada exhaled when he came home safe. April 1st, 2026, 6:35 p.m. EDT. White shot of rocket rising, crowd cheering. Flames and smoke. April 1st, 2026, Kennedy Space Center, Florida. 6:35 in the evening. The SLS rocket stood on Launch Pad 39B, the same pad that launched Apollo missions to the moon. Thousands of people gathered on the beaches and roads nearby. Millions more watched on YouTube, on NASA's live stream, on television screens around the world. The countdown echoed across the Florida coastline. 10 to 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition. 8.8 million pounds of thrust erupted beneath the rocket. The ground shook, the sky turned orange, and a machine carrying four human beings rose, slowly at first, then faster and faster, punching through the atmosphere and into space. Within minutes, Orion was in Earth's orbit. But that was just the beginning. On April 2nd, flight controllers performed what's called a translunar injection burn, a 6-minute engine firing that broke Orion free from Earth's gravitational pull and sent it hurtling toward the moon at thousands of miles per hour. NASA made the announcement. For the first time since 1972, humans had left Earth's orbit. The silence of 50 years was officially over. If you saw the photos from inside Orion, you already know what I'm talking about. Christina Koch, floating near a window, looking back at Earth. A small blue crescent against an infinite black sky. It's one of the most striking images taken in years. Life inside Orion was surprisingly normal in a completely extraordinary way. The crew had access to 189 different menu items: coffee, smoothies, barbecue beef brisket, mac and cheese, cookies, cauliflower. NASA takes crew nutrition seriously in deep space. Throughout the journey, the astronauts performed systems tests, took photographs, communicated with Mission Control in Houston, and occasionally just looked out the window at a view that almost no human being has ever seen. Then came April 6th, day 6 of the mission, in a moment that stopped everyone in their tracks. The Artemis II crew traveled to 148,655 miles from Earth, surpassing the record set by Apollo 13 in 1970, a record that had stood for 56 years. And they kept going. By the time they reached their farthest point, they were 250 to 1,760 miles from home. Farther than any human being in history. Let that sink in. No living person had ever been that far from Earth. Until now, April 6th, 2026, the moon filled the windows of Orion. They flew within 4,067 miles of the lunar surface, close enough to see craters in sharp detail, close enough to see geography that humans had never photographed from this angle before. For a few minutes, as Orion swung around the far side of the moon, all communication with Earth was cut off. Mission Control went quiet. It was a planned blackout, but that didn't make it any less tense. The world waited. Then the signal returned, and four voices crackled back over the radio. Victor Glover later described the moment, seeing the moon that close, not in a photo, not on a screen, but out a real window in real space, was something he said he couldn't fully put into words. It was emotional. It was overwhelming. It was real. The crew spent their time near the moon photographing the surface with high-resolution cameras, collecting scientific data that will directly shape the planning of Artemis III, the mission that will actually land on the moon. The data they collected, the photographs they took, and the systems they tested will make future lunar landings safer, smarter, and more successful. April 10th, 2026. 8:07 p.m. Eastern Time. After nearly 10 days and 694,481 miles of travel, Orion came home. Re-entry was the most dangerous moment of the entire mission. The capsule hit Earth's atmosphere at nearly 25,000 miles per hour, generating temperatures hot enough to melt steel. The heat shield, Orion's armor, had to hold. It did. At 23,400 feet, the first parachutes deployed. Then the three main parachutes bloomed open in the California sky, and the world breathed again. Splash. Orion hit the Pacific Ocean off the coast of San Diego right on. SCHEDULE U.S. Navy divers were in the water within minutes. Inflatable rafts were deployed. One by one, all four astronauts exited the spacecraft and were lifted by helicopter to the USS John P. Murtha. Waiting nearby, Reid Wiseman, stepping out, said what the whole world was feeling. We are back, and we are ready to go further. Canada's Jeremy Hansen was safe. Christina Koch had made history. Victor Glover had broken barriers, and all four of them had carried the hopes of 8 billion people around the moon and brought them home. What happens now? Artemis II was a test flight, a magnificent, record-breaking, history-making test flight, but a test nonetheless. The real destination is the lunar surface. Artemis III is targeted for 2027. For the first time in over 50 years, human boots will touch the moon, and this time, for the first time ever, one of those boots will belong to a woman. The lunar lander will be provided by SpaceX's Starship and Blue Origin's Blue Moon, two of the most advanced spacecraft ever built. Astronauts will descend from Orion to the moon's surface, conduct experiments, collect samples, and begin humanity's next chapter in space. After that, NASA plans to build Gateway, a small space station orbiting the moon, and eventually a permanent lunar base on the surface. From there, the path leads to Mars. NASA is targeting a crewed Mars mission sometime in the 2030s. Canada remains a full partner in all of this. Jeremy Hansen's flight wasn't a cameo, it was a signal. Canada is in this for the long game, and so are many other nations. The moon is no longer a destination we visited once and forgot. It's becoming the next frontier, and Artemis II was the first step back. Asterisk, here's what I want you to take away from this story. Artemis II wasn't just a space mission. It was proof that when human beings commit to something, truly commit, they can do the impossible. For people flew around the moon. They broke records that had stood for over half a century. They came home safely, and they left a path for others to follow. This is what exploration looks like. Not just rockets and data, but courage, curiosity, the willingness to go somewhere no one has gone before, not because it's easy, but because it matters. The next generation of astronauts, maybe even some of the people watching this video right now, will walk on the moon. They'll live on a lunar base. They'll look up at Earth from the surface of another world. And it starts here. It starts with Artemis II. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. If this video gave you something, a new perspective, a spark of wonder, a little hope, hit that like button and subscribe. There's a lot more of this coming. Until next time, keep looking up.